All right. Hello, everybody. What's going on? It is Jordan Beach, and this is going to be split screen. Yes, the title is not lying. This is episode 1. So, that being said, quick announcement. We have a separate split screen YouTube channel up on YouTube. It's going to be separate from all of my content. It's going to be its own thing. It's going to be a podcast. It's going to be all the long episodes that have been on my channel. None of the others are going to be added to this stream or to the YouTube, just because it is going to be it was kind of messing with the algorithm. I know I announced all that. We can get into the details later, but if you so kindly is to go ahead and hop over there on the YouTube split screen, and you could drop a follow, or I guess they're subscribe over there. They're not really follows, but I would love the support over there and continue to make this thing grow. Another announcement, Hermes is not here today, but I will introduce the lovely gentleman that is here with us today. It is none other than the Fromsoft person that I met on DS1 Remastered for the first time, and he walked me through the entire lore of that game. It is DaddyCrit. DaddyCrit, how the hell are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. What have you been up to lately, man?
Not a lot. No. I have been playing Elden Ring. Go figure. I have been playing a lot of Apex as always. Doing school, doing family stuff, doing bought a house, got a dog. Yeah.
House and dog is a pretty big deal. So we're going to be talking about Elden Ring. Are you okay with that today?
No.
No. Okay. I figured you're probably 40, 50 hours into it, and I can understand.
I'm actually only 22 hours into this game.
Really? That's fair.
You're halfway through is what I am, but it came out, and I didn't get to play it really until 9 o'clock the day it came out, because I had like dad stuff to do that day, and then I played it for about 2 or 3 hours because I'm tired, and then I played it the next day during the day, and then I had a D&D game that night, so I just like didn't play in the evening.
Gotcha.
And then the next day I played a little bit, so it's kind of been like piecing, and I've also had like a busy week of school, so it's kind of been like I want to play it for like 12 hours straight, but I can't yet. You know what I mean?
I
So
understand.
one day I get a chance to. So.
Well, that's I guess with your 22 hours, my first go at it was today, and I streamed for almost 12.
Right.
I would assume 10 of that is pretty comfortably like gameplay, right? So I'm about 10 hours into it. I waited specifically so I could stream it because I started my whole thing on stream with the Fromsoft games and Souls games, so I wanted to continue it. So it was nice to do that. I took a day off work. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to start at 8 a.m., get this show running and go from there. But with your 22 hours, what do you think so far?
I think it's the best Fromsoft game.
Yes, really?
Yeah, I think it's the best one. I think it's we always have a back and forth about, and we've done this thing before where we rank the games, and I'd love to hear your ranking again if he's gonna get a fresher on that. But my ranking still stands as it's a swap a lot of times between Dark Souls 3 and Dark Souls 1. I think playing wise, if I'm like, what's your favorite game to play? It's Dark Souls 3. But 1 has a lore and level design for me, and then after that it would be Sekiro, and then Bloodborne, and then Demon Souls, but only the remake, and then Dark Souls 2.
Yeah.
If it's not the remake, if you like didn't have the pretty graphics in there, it's Demon Souls after Dark Souls 2 for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's given the technology, right? I think
it's not even like if it was all graphically, or better yet, if you brought Dark Souls 2 into the graphical era of Demon Souls, I would then put it ahead of Demon Souls, because I just don't like Demon Souls level design.
Right, and I think part of it is Demon Souls was like the idea, right? It was like, oh, okay, hey, let's put this out. Do people even like this? And then they're like, yeah, people do like it. And you're like, okay, Dark Souls, right? You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I think that's what exactly it is.
They've evolved from there. I mean, they tried new things in Dark Souls 1, and then Dark Souls 2, they kind of did some Demon Souls, some Dark Souls together,
right,
to see like what work with. I don't like the scavenging for healing items that Dark Souls 2 and Demon Souls had, but Dark Souls 2 had the flask system too. Right. I also think that with Demon Souls specifically, I know it's still a big thing. People who aren't playing Elden Ring are still playing Demon Souls. I know that like with Demon Souls, if you don't have the level is harder than the boss, and I like the feeling of dying to a boss over and over again instead
Hmm.
of dying to that random guard on the top of this tower
Getting to
15
said
times.
boss every single time. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I understand.
yeah,
And is that where you think that so you would put Elden Ring at the top of that list though,
oh yeah. Mhm.
right? Okay. I'm not there yet just because I can't give that a fair shake for 10 hours when I put almost,
Fair,
60 into
yeah.
every other one except Demon Souls remake because that game
That was
wasn't
quick.
as long, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely gorgeous and the sound was great. But
right.
I think for me, Bloodborne is sitting there still firmly at the top.
Hmm.
Um, but I can see Elden Ring kind of
Creeping up on it.
taking it because when I play, and I don't know if I don't know, it's hard because when I play Elden Ring and when I played today, there were times where I'm like, that's from Bloodborne, or that
Yeah,
was borrowed, or
yeah,
this is from Dark Souls, or those dogs are specifically from reused assets, which is fine. I don't have any problem with that
right.
because they're all the same games. I almost weirdly expect them all to
Yeah,
look the same.
of course, you kind of expect it just from a honestly from a design standpoint and from a like if it doesn't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? Like if it's
Right.
working, just use it. And why like it's a dog. Like it's we've all had
Mhm.
enemy dogs in games. I don't have to
Right.
go reinvent the wheel. Like
Right. Right.
this dog has to have 37-inch long legs. Those
Yeah.
have 34-inch
Sorry,
long
this needs to
legs.
look like a
So
different. It needs to be a fat dog instead of a skinny
I need a
dog.
Doberman and not a Pinscher
Right.
or whatever. I don't
Right.
know. Like
But for me, I think I took that and I was like, this is it's if almost a beautiful homage to all the games. Like it just is. You know what I mean? Like it just is. Like I think. Hey, thank you, Easy. I appreciate you, buddy. Thanks so much. It is just like a fantastic mix of everything. They took all the beautiful and perfect parts from each game and were like, you know what? This works. But then added new stuff. Like I'm finding new stuff. Even when I run into a boss, I'm like, okay, this is a Dark Souls boss. Okay, hey, this is a Bloodborne boss. I'm familiar with that, right? I think that I am I think I'm gonna fall in love with this the more I play it. It's just the way it's gonna be. I'm already addicted. Like that's something I knew was gonna happen. But like I love the dungeons. Like I'm stumbling into dungeons, like areas that I didn't know that I was gonna find, and like they're not marked or anything. You just kind of walk in, you're like, hey, there's a door. Okay, boom, it's a dungeon. You walk down. Those things are a little underwhelming as far as those, but like I think they have to be, right? I think you can't have everything to be a massive scale fight or you'll just get bored of it. You just absolutely will.
Some things have to be I mean so for me like the dungeons like the mines and stuff all the time are really fun because there are lots of mines to go through and there are like little crypts and finds and all that. But I think that the fun thing about them for me is not so much what's inside of them, but just like finding them, like you were saying.
Right.
Because there are times where I go to like a big cliff and I'm like, I don't know, something seems like it could be down there. Let me go check it out. I'm like trying to find a way down this weird cliff, and it's like, and someone sitting next to me would say, "What are you doing? There's nothing down there." Like, I just got a feeling. Hold on a second, and then
Yeah.
I go down the
Right.
cliff, and I make it down. Finally, I go around like, there was a mine shaft here. I knew it.
Exactly.
Like, oh, there's an enemy down there. Why is there an enemy down there? Enemies wouldn't be there if I wasn't supposed to go there. Ooh, wait a minute.
Yeah, there's got to be something
So
for me to
yeah,
get, or yeah.
then you go inside and it's like, oh, here's some, I will say those dudes you fought today that fucked you up a couple times. I hate the most in
The
this game. I
imps,
think enemy wise, are they the imps?
the
I
little
don't know.
guys.
I hate the ones. Oh, the little small dudes that are like throwing smoke bombs.
They're like, no, they were with the cat watchdog, but it was like a cat but a watchdog. That's the name of it. I can't think of the name. Something tree watchdog. I can't think.
I'm thinking of the ones that are like that you find in Caelid and the swamp that are like insects that shoot like 50 arrows at you.
Yes.
And they always find they're homing arrows. They always find their mark. So this is when a shield is really good, because if you don't have a shield, that shield will block them and it'll help you out and that's when magic is really helpful too. And the things that you were fighting in the mines, the dudes who are usually mining for things, but are like you were fighting at one point, it was like I didn't realize until you were fighting him how hard they are to kill, because I'm shooting them with magic. I guess they're weak to magic.
Right.
So you using piercing and slashing damage, I'm like, oh, I guess they aren't really vulnerable to melee attacks, which makes sense because they're probably like made of gems or whatever.
Right.
But those dudes are tough if you're a melee fighter, but there's not much in those mines a lot of the time. But some of them do have like bosses at the end,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they're tough bosses. Like I walked through a mine and breezed through it, and then found a grace at the end and rested the grace, and then go fight the boss, and I'm like, holy fuck, I can't do this. No,
Right.
no,
Right.
no,
Right.
no, not today. I'll come back later. So, and that's one of the things that'll be interesting is going back at the end game and just saying like, what have I not done? And like just kind of traveling to graces
Yeah.
and saying like, did I fight this boss? Ooh, a boss I haven't fought yet, and just seeing what's
That's
up. So,
that's the part they took, I think, from Bloodborne, right? They took the Chalice dungeons and then we're like, how do we put this in an open world? And they're like, you just make dungeons. Like you just make them hidden places to find.
Some more obvious than others.
The more I think about it, I'm like, that's really cool, right? I think, and they're by far not the first people to do this, but it's just the adaptation of a FromSoft game with new mechanics and a new style of open world, right? You think, hey, Dark Souls, hey, it's open world, kind of, right? Kind of, but it's not necessarily, because you can go wherever you want, whenever you want, pretty much, without like, item required doors and passages and things like that. But this is just a completely new monster. It is the horse. I didn't think I was going to be a fan. As soon as I started the game, I jumped and I was like, this feels weird, right?
Weird.
I was
it's the Y and A for me. I have like, you learn it at 20 hours. 20 hours in, at least you'll learn that like A is not the button to close a menu now.
Yep.
I will say the one thing that I don't like control wise is that select does not close your map. It opens up like another set, like in the controls.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like make that like the bumper or something. Don't make that. Let me close the map with select, because even 20 hours and I'm hitting select to the map and hitting select again to close the map, that's not working.
Right.
So
yeah, there's countless times where I go to pick up or examine or something and I jump. Right. I just absolutely jump. I'm like, God damn it.
Fuck. You get over that. About 15 hours in, I think. Yeah.
Good. I hope so, because I'm sick of
more, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm sick of going up to something and just jumping at it. I am, of course, I've gone halberd. We all know it's, if you've watched any of my other playthroughs, that's my first one.
I said it at first, like you should go halberd, go vagabond.
I didn't know it was a starting. I had no idea that it was a starting weapon for a specific class. And that was the end of that. That was exactly where I was going once that happened. I will tell you, I do want the sword that I got. It's like a blood something sword that I got from Forlong Hound something. It's like where you the crest that you go into like a purple area, right?
The one I thought was the shield, Ashes of War.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That weapon's looking pretty goddamn good right now, because
that's a pretty popular one, I think. Actually, it's the great sword. I think that's what I think Vachi actually used that in his first playthrough. He said after finding it like early on,
it's so good,
and it's pretty popular for a great sword. It's pretty good great sword. What I can tell.
It's massively overpowered in my opinion right now, just because of I've only leveled it up a couple times. Granted, it takes the somber stones or whatever, or which is fine, because I think I need one more and I can get it to a +3, and I think it's going to be insane. Plus it adds the blood loss, 55 damage of blood loss, really, or whatever, or build up at least. And I don't know what is going to beat that, but I'm sticking to my halberd for the first time through, because I absolutely want to.
Well, you can always respec to at any point. I mean, that's the thing, is that there is a point, I think halfway through the game, I mean, not halfway, but like it's like theoretically halfway through the game, where you can respec, like you come with Visaria. I haven't done it yet. I haven't even gotten to the NPC yet to do it. Right. But I am planning on, because I had originally built that's the other thing too. I'm only 22 hours into the game, because I spent 3 hours the first night when it came out, not actually. Like I made a character and then restarted the next day. So I made a paladin character, which was like face strength build, and then I was like, I really want to try magic. I'm gonna go magic. And then I just restarted the next day, so I lost 3 hours that way. But I mean,
I lost 10 hours of my Dark Souls 2 playthrough because
Right.
I started without the halberd. What the fuck was I thinking?
Like, I hate this game.
This game sucks. That's bad. Okay, halberd it is.
Yeah, I'll deal with it.
But I think I'm still in the first. island, if you will. Yes, I got sent to another one because I was in a trap.
Yeah.
And I was like, I quickly wanted the fuck out. Like, I was like, no,
Mm-hmm.
you made me go to another island. I was not even close to done to looking at the other one.
Right.
Send me back.
Talking about
But
the swamp area, right? The red sky, all that.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it was. Yes.
Caleb, yeah.
But I think I said this during the stream as I was playing. I started. I looked at the map and I was like, I don't know where to go. Like I was like, I don't know. I know where to go because literally
Mm-hmm.
can go anywhere, but
Right.
I don't know which is the right way. And I had to quickly come to terms with there is no right way. There no longer is like go here, then go to the catacombs, and then go when you get to the catacombs, go here, unlock the shortcut. When this shortcut is done, then you go to
it's not a linear game anymore.
Dark Root Basin, or you know what I mean? Like it's not like that. It's just where do you want to go? And you
and
literally put a beacon and you head there.
Yeah. The thing, so the thing about like, I don't know if you actually, I don't know if you've like read the NPC dialogue or noticed this or not. When you sit at the grace, there's light going from the grace.
Yes.
If you notice, okay, cool. So there's like the game tells you like because they anticipate, and I think this is good because a lot of people I've seen in like reviews of the game who play it for like an hour and then return it on Steam have done like they'll do this thing where they say, you know, hey, I don't know where to go, I get lost, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, the game literally tells you though, if you don't know where to go to a grace and it'll kind of point you where to go.
Yeah,
You know what
just
I mean?
follow that direction.
And you can, and there's even like a usable item that lets you, like gives you a guidance basically on where to go.
That's cool.
So I don't know what item it is, but it's like if you're totally lost, I got to use it at some point because it seems like it's a really cool item because it says, if for those who are totally lost and don't know where to go or something like that, use it, or who think that like trust the item to find adventure for them. And I'm like, I feel like if you use this item in certain areas, it might take you to like hidden events or like secret like oh, this thing is hidden behind this rock you didn't know was behind the rock or whatever. I don't know, something like that. And it's Miyazaki hiding shit. It's not illusory walls, but it's kind of like illusory walls. So I'm sure Vati and the community will discover a lot of those things and make a list of things.
I know. Oh yeah, I can't wait. Dude, that's gonna be so cool. It's like this game is only gonna get.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna only find more as the game goes on.
It's so weird. It's been a long time, especially because of the nature of the game. It's been a long time seeing an empty wiki page, like going for like, oh, what's this? No information. Okay, interesting. No one's typed it up yet, but because it's open world and not linear, you don't. I mean, people can't just like play through the area and then make up the wiki about it, and then go to the next area and make up the wiki about it.
Right.
They're bouncing around so much, and it's like you're not getting consistent wiki information. So I mean, the listing of that Ashes of War was probably trying to be fine today is actually listed for that knight that you fought. But it's not him, it's the knight on the horseback.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's like this is obviously wrong information. It's probably from the network test that got changed.
Yep.
And so that hasn't been updated yet. So it's interesting to see, you're in that like first few weeks, first few months probably where the wiki isn't fully up to date. And so it really is like you don't have all the information like you used to or you were used to having for Dark Souls games where it's just like whatever you want right there.
A perfect example is I didn't know I didn't remember or know where to take my weapons to get them upgraded to like 4 to 6, right? +4 to 6. Right. And I was like, I don't know where to go. I know I can't do it at the place I've been at because it only says up to +3.
Right.
I typed that in. I literally said, hey, upgrades +4 to +6. Where do I go in Elden Ring? Blah, blah, blah. And I didn't get a quick answer, if at all. Right. Yeah. And I had to ask somebody who just had done it and did all that. So it was just crazy that it's at that point still. And it's really cool because this is going to keep happening. You're going to find new stuff. You're going to find other things that just absolutely weren't around the first month of the game because people are now deep diving. They're like, I beat the game. I beat the piss out of it. Now let's find all the hidden stuff. Right. And that's going to be, that's going to be so cool to see that.
Figure out what happens and what's tucked away in the world that I can find. And
right.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's interesting because some things like some areas you want to explore more and some areas you maybe don't. And some areas are easily overlooked if you just don't go all the way through. I like the fact that they do, if you stick to the road, you're guaranteed to find like the right place to go almost. Like if you follow the grace will lead you to more graces, and the graces will lead you to where you need to go eventually if you follow if you follow the guided graces or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you follow the road, you're pretty much guaranteed to eventually find out where you need to go. And I think that is a good method of the game design to say here's the path, but you can always go off the path, and you're encouraged to go off the path because there are really good things to help you on the path
Right.
that are off the path.
Yep.
And I think that's a really good system to have. I mean, hell, if you go to the peninsula, the road literally takes you to as far south as you can go, and it's like, hey, look, giant castle. This is where we're supposed to go.
Yeah. Hey, there it is. Right.
Do
This
it.
is it. Yeah.
Do it. If you go to the Eastern Caelid, it's the same exact thing. It's like, hey, look, a fort.
Yeah. Right.
Road ends. Go in.
Go in. Yeah. This is where you need to go.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, and I think Elden Ring is going to be inevitably it'll probably be my favorite FromSoft game.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's just the overall, I don't know what it is about Bloodborne anymore that still makes me question Elden Ring. I know I'm 10 hours into Elden Ring still, and I've got plenty of time to go, but because open world is usually going to be more exciting for me. I think that's why I didn't play Bloodborne when it came out, and Dark Souls when they came out. I was too intimidated, right? I just was, right? That's just how it is. But I think with Bloodborne, I don't know if it's the entire atmosphere of the game.
Yeah.
Or
probably.
what.
That's probably a big part of it.
But I get that now, and in Elden Ring, and I get some Dark Souls bits, and there's even Sekiro in there. There absolutely is Sekiro. It's so for me, it's almost a celebration of all the games that have been released and all the fans that have loved it. And this game, even people who weren't fans of the other ones, this game took over Twitch for at least a week, right? At least, if not still.
It still is.
It's still pretty great.
There's Apex streamers that I watched that like exclusively play Apex, and like they played Halo Infinite the first couple of days it came out or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're playing Elden Ring or they're playing Elden Ring with Apex, where it's like we're gonna stream Elden Ring for 4 hours and then play Apex tonight with the boys and whatnot. But it's like it's just crazy seeing people that like only whenever a game comes out, like it's not. I mean, Among Us did the same thing too, and a couple other games did the same thing. Where when streamers who only stream one thing, like they're known for streaming one thing, come out. I mean, Shroud was like doing just Valorant for a long time,
right?
And then Infinite came out. He played Infinite for a while, and it was like, whoa, Shroud's changing games today.
Yeah,
like,
exactly, right. Or he played New World or whatever it is, but like,
right, exactly, exactly.
But yeah, this one is just it's insane to see. And you know what I'm seeing is even like, for example, Summit 1G, right, is a big, FPS, does play other stuff, but he's like PvP, like that's what he's doing. He's just doing PvP right now, and that's just he's been doing it, and that's insane to me that it's getting that much praise as far as big streamers and content creators and things like that giving it the time of day that normally might not. One of them was Dr. Disrespect. Played it for 11 hours one day. Like I'm blown away by that because, he's Mr. Warzone FPS. Yeah. That's just what it is. But it just took over. It peaked at 900 and almost 1 million people watching it on Twitch. Which is pretty crazy. And absolutely just insane to me that it was all the other FromSoft games combined at their peak didn't match up to this. So
no, none of them did.
You know what I mean?
I'm looking at AceU is one of the biggest streamers in the world. And he's especially for Apex and shooters like Valorant and League and all that as well. And he was playing Elden Ring the last couple of days instead of playing Apex. And there's like tournaments that are going on right now and coming up, and it's like you're not playing Apex, and it's like, no, my Elden Ring just came out. I'm good. I'm playing Apex for years. I'm fine.
Exactly.
I don't think ACU needs training for a day to go play a tournament. We're fine. I'm gonna play Elden Ring instead.
I think he'll be all right.
Be fine.
But yeah, it took over. I think that's really cool. I don't think Souls games, given the last pandemic or in quarantine and people staying home and streaming becoming more and more mainstream for just everybody. It happened to me. I mean, I played it. I've said this many times. I wouldn't have played it if I didn't stream it. Right? It's just one of those things where that game was that much fun to
Right.
to stream with people, and I get it. But I'm not the only one. It is a huge amount of people that have just started playing these games, gone through them the last couple of years for the first time, and just like taken these games and made them mainstream. Like it used to be a niche thing. Like, oh, you're a Souls player. Like, oh, you must hate yourself. Like that. You know what I mean? But now it's like, no, that's a sense of accomplishment. Everybody's starting to understand that, and that's kind of cool to see. This game kind of get the recognition that a select amount of people have been pushing for a long time. So I think that's really cool. I know you've been playing them longer than I have. Yeah.
Yeah. As somebody who loves the lore, I mean, I'd always appreciate whenever anybody's like, oh man, there's actually a story to this game. And it's like, yeah, there is. It's really good, actually.
Yeah, you just gotta ask for it. That's it. You don't necessarily get it.
Look up a video. Look up a video online. You're like, I'm not asking you to read through the item list. That's what the lore delvers are here for. You don't have to read the items.
Yeah.
Just read through the lore delvers blogs and like watch the videos on YouTube, and you'll get the lore. It's fantastic. So,
I do want to say that I adore and respect the shit out of people that do deep dive lore videos of anything, right? The fact that they're like, you know, this one, like, for example, I was talking to Nick, usually Nick Knack. Shout out to him. He's streaming right now. He's playing Dead by Daylight. Go watch him if you want to. He's a fantastic lad. I was playing. Hey, Michaela, how's it going? Welcome in.
Hi, Michaela.
It was, oh, fuck, what was it? Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
He had mentioned that like it was in passing on a document that Forbidden West was even mentioned, and that was the name of it. So like somebody was like doing deep dives and getting all the information they could on the Forbidden West, and they were like, this is what the next one's going to be called, and like they ended up being right. And like they put all that out, and that's just so crazy to me that like that's available. So off of one thing that some NPC said that wasn't like laid out in front of you. That they'll piece it together. You know what I mean? They'll piece it together. They'll put all the stuff and find what they need to find. And, you know, sometimes, I mean, Destiny was real bad with this, with their Grimoire cards or whatever. You actually go and read. Like that's not how you do it, right?
Yeah, they try to emulate that gameplay style, and it's just not there.
Right, exactly.
It's like the Souls like style, like, oh, we're gonna litter it through the world. It's like, yeah, but littering through the world and like go read a novel is different. It's like littering through the world is different than littering through the world in like Skyrim with books.
Right.
It's a different feeling. It's like, oh, I'm reading a book, which is giving me information. You're not telling me like what, like the effect of like, oh, the X War volume number 1 is reading 5 pages of it or whatever is one thing, but reading like the description of a weapon or a shield, and it's like X guard shield, and it's like the guards fought for so and so King blah blah. And it's like, oh, who's King blah blah? And later on, it's like, oh, crown to King blah blah blah. Oh, okay, well, like leader of the people of so and so. Where's so and so? You know what I mean? Like,
right, exactly.
It connects together. It's more interesting to find because like you hear, and then of course Miyazaki's a naming expert, so he names people names that are just memorable enough, but not like overly complicated. Because that's a big thing I think in storytelling is like, I'm gonna name my character Bob. Okay, that's boring. Or I'm gonna name my character something very, very Tolkien Elven, and it's like, I don't know if I can say that word. And then it's like, I'm gonna name my character Bobrick. Okay, that's good. It's good enough. Yeah, it's good enough. I remember. Oh, and it's like, oh, later on, oh, so and so brother to Bobrick. Brother to Bobrick. Wait, Bobrick was that guy? Oh, they were like, he's a prince. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, you combine 2 boring names and make it one fantastic name.
Yeah, Bobrick.
Bobrick, dude, easy.
Bob John. Tom Jerry. Nope.
So get ready for this segue though. So I don't think you're ready for it, but staying on open world, staying on open world topics and on topic. Pokemon's a thing, right? Pokemon's a thing. Our Legends Arceus is a game that came out.
All the game, sure.
Also a open world concept put into a beloved franchise that has not necessarily had that in the past. Maybe avenues of it, but not necessarily a full-blown open world game. And I would even say Arceus is still not technically open world, it's just open maps. Anyways, why is that one so shit, and why is Elden Ring so good at what they did?
I'm saying this because I know the secrets. We're gonna transition into another conversation in a couple minutes here about open world games. I just know it. And other open world games that Beach hates. But
I hate it
but
I more hate it for the meme now, and that's really just what it
I
is. Like
know.
that's firmly I'm in that camp.
Okay, so I think the problem with Arceus. All right, so when Arceus first got announced, I was stoked. It was like, oh yeah, we're getting an open world game. Headlines, we're getting an open world Pokemon game. And like, oh sweet, finally, we're getting an open world Pokemon game. It's gonna be great. And I was thinking something along the lines of like, remember Pokemon Coliseum way back in the day, and like Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, and how they were like 3-dimensional games, and like when we got later on with the 3DS stuff, when we got like Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield eventually, those were like what I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna have that. But instead of having like loading screens from like area to area, in like a Metal Gear Solid fashion, it'll be or like a PS2 game fashion, it'll be um, actual open world. And when they showed the game, it was fields with like a tree every quarter mile
It's not
and
even
like a
I
single
wouldn't even say a
stream.
field. It was like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
couple
it's like
trees spread out,
really far
a
spread
patch
out.
of tall grass, and
Yeah,
then
and then hills all around you.
smooth grass, and then hills and jagged rocks and
It's
some
just not
water.
dynamic. That's the thing is if you're gonna make an open world and you want to make it an unsettled area where there's like the frontier and it's like before they like this is ancient Hoenn or whatever where we have like no Pokemon centers and things like that to speak up, but there are like healers and things around that can help or whatever. Like and before civilization happens, you can do that. You just have to uh you have to make the layout and the terrain more dynamic than just a tree and
Yeah.
grass. You got to make it interesting to look at. You got to have more interesting things around. Not everything in the world has to be Pokemon. You can have a bird that's not a Pokemon. Like you can
Yeah,
have just
true.
birds flying around
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not be have this giant ass Pidgey like
Yeah.
flapping around
I
in the
gotta
air. It could
catch
just be
that
a
bastard.
bird.
Yeah, I gotta catch that bastard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So here's my thing is and I want to preface this with the fact is I'm like 50 hours into Pokemon Arceus, but that's only because I'm playing it with my daughter. If it was just me
Yeah.
playing it, I would have stopped playing it 49 hours ago. The only reason it's appealing is because she really likes catching things and evolving them and doing all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I don't know what's going on in the story. I've skipped all the dialogue.
Yeah.
I'm not interested, unfortunately. But I think and after we saw Scarlet and Violet get announced, in that teaser trailer, if you will, I don't even call it really maybe it's a trailer. But like right off the bat looks more open. Not open.
Yeah.
Looks more filled out. There's an actual city. Not just a village that you walked to, and that you just hit a button and you're like, go back. Cool. So that tells me that this game didn't introduce any new Pokemon. Is that right?
I don't believe that Arceus had any new Pokemon in it. I think it was all except for like maybe a couple like legendary ones. I'm not sure.
So maybe the end game legendary ones
yeah.
got you. Okay. So that being said, this game is 1,000,000% a cash grab. It just is. It's just a cash grab. That's what it is. I think that
Seems unfinished to me. It seems like it was like to a project that's not the main game, but we don't fully believe in it.
do people like this?
I mean?
Okay, Scarlet and Violet, let's go ahead and release it the same year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
because it's like when you make your mainstay games like every 2 years, but you don't break that up at all, it tells me that you didn't commit time from the studio. You made a separate team to do this, but didn't give them the full resources they needed to do a full game.
Yeah.
So
part of me feels like
hey, go ahead.
Is also I have to feel, or I think people that are more like who have purchased every one from here on out, or from red, yellow, and blue to know Arceus. I went from red to Arceus. Like that's what I played, right? That's what I did. And I was like, cool, open world. That's my thing. I love open world RPGs, Fallout, Bethesda, whatever it is, promising. Right? So after I got it, it was fine, whatever. I'm still playing with my daughter. It is what it is. But like, aren't people sick and tired of it? Is that what it is? They're sick and tired of the other versions of it. Hey, here's your city. Here's your thing. It's not open world. It is exactly what it's been for the past 20 years. Right.
Yeah. I think I think that's a big thing is that I mean you're catering to Pokemon is still a big thing. Kids like I mean my daughter loves Pokemon, your daughter loves Pokemon. Kids love Pokemon.
Right.
But you're catering to this formula has been around for 25, 26
Mm-hmm.
years, 26 years. 96 I believe was the first one for Red and Blue in Japan. Or Red and Green in Japan, I forget. Anyway, but you have this same um formula for 26 years and you're catering to the millennials, but the millennials are also saying that hey, and the Gen Z kids too, but like
Mm-hmm.
the bridge there, the 90s kids of this is the same formula you've had and it's worked and it should probably work on the new people
Right.
too.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, but at the same time the formula worked for so long because it worked for a while and then it worked because of nostalgia, and that's great, but eventually that is going to wear off and we're evolving and we'd like something different, and I think at a certain point you have too many Pokemon
There's
and
a
they
lot of
just
them.
don't
Yeah.
become
Yeah.
cool anymore. There's like, I mean, new ones come out, and I'm like, oh, cool, 100 new ones just came out. That one's kind of neat. That one's pretty cool. The rest are all right.
I think
I mean,
I
Sword and
think
Shield
though.
came out, and
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Go ahead. You
Okay.
finish your
I
thought.
think Sword and Shield came out, and it's like Electric Corgi was the biggest thing, and it was like, oh, like little heart butt Corgi with electricity on its back, and that was the biggest thing. But no other Pokemon were that cool. They were just like
Well,
just weren't very interesting.
I
And I think
mean,
that's the big thing is that
it's
it's
just
like
like me and the new one's Gen 9. It's
yeah,
Quaxley and it's literally nobody else. Like you know what
yeah,
I
it's
mean? Who are the other two? It doesn't matter. They suck because
yeah,
Quaxley is a goddamn duck
yeah.
with a hat. Like, come
It's a
on.
duck with a hat. It's the one you got to get.
Right.
I like the name. I like the Spain. I do say I like the Spain setting for Scarlet and Violet.
I think that's really cool
That'll be
too.
interesting.
My whole thing is I can't even classify Arceus as an open world game in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's open maps. It's which is fine. It's still they're open maps, and that's what usually it is. You go to a different island, that's a different map technically, but it's not like you walk from one island to the other. But I am also at the understanding that like you mentioned this when we talked before is like these games still aren't they aren't marketed to us. They're absolutely not, right? So we could want whatever we do want, but X works. X produces this amount of money, which exceeds most anything else that we do. We're gonna keep doing what we do, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm here to bash Pokemon. It's just never been my thing that I've played. But it also comes down to, I don't know why, but like Nintendo was fulfilled a specific amount of my life of video games, right? When I was younger. And it hasn't done that since, I don't think. And I don't know what that is because Mario, I like playing with my daughter. Sonic, I love my own, my own take is I love Sonic for whatever it is, but
right.
I just don't know. I don't know, man. I think Nintendo is so good at reintroducing generations to video games. Like that's just their, I feel like that's their place. Like, you know what I mean? Like my daughter doesn't, I don't think she knows what an Xbox and a PlayStation are, but like, she's like, can we play Nintendo? Like whenever I said video games or whenever old people said video games to like, your grandparents were like, hey, do you want to play Nintendo? Even if it was a PlayStation, right? Like, you know what I mean?
It was the thing at the time. I mean, games were dead before Nintendo came out. Games were thought of as like, it was a fad in the 80s and now it's over.
Right.
And then Mario was a big hit. And I think I will say this. I think Nintendo has been pretty good in recent years about remaking franchises and making them modern. Mario Odyssey has been really good. It was a really good game. It was like, remember 64 Mario? Mm-hmm. We're making that for modern day. Like we've made a lot of side scroll Marios in the last couple of years. We made Mario Brothers and then Mario Brothers 2 with Luigi, and we made something else. They made Mario 3D Land and 3D World, and it was like we're gonna basically take that idea because Mario 3D Land and 3D World are literally just Mario games on a 3D board instead of having like the lines to follow. Like you still follow the lines, but it's on like a 3D board or whatever. Right. And then you're like, welcome to the world. It's just in 3 dimensions. Now it's Odyssey. Here's an open map. Basically, you're saying, and go find the 10 stars that are on this map by doing the little dungeons or quests or whatever in it. Mm-hmm. That was really good. I think that they've also done some interesting things with like, here's the character of Mario with rabbits. Mario and Rabbits is a fantastic game, and I'll die on that hill. Right. And I can't wait for the number 2 to come out. I think that Zelda, we'll get into that, has done a lot of good and remade some things
Yeah.
and franchise. But Pokemon is Game Freak, obviously. Pokemon has not changed. Pokemon's formula is the same. And Big Easy asked a question earlier too about like, is it not open world? And I think that the answer to that question is that
How was it not
Pokemon is
open
not an
world
open
before?
world game. It's a linear game. It is you are at town A and you now need to go to town B. And to get there, you're following the trail that's. I mean, you can literally zoom out of the Pokemon map, the town, like the world map, and see the lines, and you can get like the game guides have like colored trails where it's like you go to red and you can't go to blue until you beat the gym leader in red,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
Like you have to get the gym leader beat in red so you can get cut to get to gym leader blue.
That's
You know
like
what I
going
mean?
one world 1-1, world 1-2,
Exactly.
world
Exactly.
1-3,
You can still
world
sometimes you can go
1-4
past
is
it.
gym leader, then
Right.
2-1, 2-2, and then 2-4 is gym leader of 2. Like that's just the way it is.
Right.
But it's not labeled that way. So that's what you're
Exactly.
kind of getting at. Okay.
And you get into a city and it's like, all right, cool. This city has 4 exits: the one you came in from, the one to the north, the one to the east, and the one to the west. Okay, cool.
Right.
So the one in the east is blocked by a sleeping Snorlax. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get a flute somewhere. The one to the west is blocked by Team Rocket. It won't let you in. And
Right.
then the one to the north you can get to, but you have to get a bike to go much farther. So you can kind of go down that path, and it's like halfway through the path, you're like, oh man, I need a bike to get on the bike trail. And then you have to be the gym leader who's like, here's a ticket for a bike. You take that and get the bike, and then you go to the bike and get the flute, and get the flute,
Right.
you get the Snorlax, and then it's opening up. But it's not. You can't go wherever you want in the beginning, and that's the true sign of an open world game. And Sword and Shield was getting there for me. Sword and Shield was like, I'm in here, and I have to get from point A to point B, but I can go up this rock hill, and I can go over the ledge and get there on the top of the cliffside. I can go down into the valley to get there. It's all one. If I zoomed out, it's all one area going straight, essentially.
Gotcha.
But it gives you a couple different path options to get there.
Right.
And then of course you get into a certain area where it's like, all right, go across the valley and get there. And the valley is like a big open area that you can kind of explore a bit, like Arceus is. But in Sword and Shield, it felt a little more populated and interesting to look at for those areas they were in. So it almost felt like they took a step back. If they had done Arceus before Sword and Shield, then I would be less disappointed, I think. But they did Sword and Shield first and then Arceus, and now I'm like, wait, what happened to Sword and Shield's like interesting level design with like decor and stuff? And now it's not here anymore.
Right. Technically, in the answer, he says so. Arceus is not open world then. And technically, in my opinion, and I don't make the rule book or anything like that, and maybe their intentions are technically open world, but even Arceus, you have to go from Prelude Beach to whatever the next location is. And from that next location, whenever you do all the stuff there and you unlock all that stuff, you unlock another location to go there.
Right.
Then you can go to that part of the map. And then after you do the same stuff and get all the things, do whatever you need to do in that one, you can go to another one. Right. And then you have to go to that. Well, not to another one, the next one, which is predetermined for you. Do all that stuff in there. Then you finally get to the last one, the last place to go to. And then that's where usually the big stuff usually happens, and the finale and all the end things. The thing what makes it open world is end game. End game is 100%. I'll give you the fact that it's open world because you took different.
You shouldn't have to fight for the open world though.
Right. That's the thing. And it's not open world until you've completed the story, because then it finally unlocks the entire map and you can go to place as you choose. Like you're like, I want to go here. Boom, you go there. Like that's how it is. So I think end game, yes. Everything before end game, no. It absolutely is. It's a linear storyline that tells you where to go. Granted, you can go back to places you've already been, but you can't go to the final stage right off the bat because they want to save that for the story. Which doesn't make it open world. So at the end game, I think it is, but in my opinion, and I want to talk just a little bit about Zelda. I kind of give it a bad rap in Breath of the Wild. I really do. I absolutely do. I think it's one of, I would say overhyped, but I don't understand any of it because I haven't played it. Right. And I think it gets too much praise when it comes to that. Actually, let's touch on what Easy said before, but I wouldn't say it's open world just because you have load time. I wouldn't say it's open world just because you have to load into places. Wait, you say you wouldn't say it's open? I wouldn't say it's open world just because. Okay, I understand. Like I said, but that's why is it's not technically open world until the full map is unlocked for you. That's really what it comes down to, right? So you can't go from I want to go from one city 1 to city 4 where the finale happens and the story ends right off the bat because they won't let you. There's no destination or camp. You haven't technically the thing is you haven't set up a camp in that area yet because you haven't visited yet. And it's not
No,
established.
I also wouldn't say that open world is a stipulation of like in Elden Ring you can go into a cave off the road. Um, yeah, I would say so. I would say that, yeah, like so. Because you sorry, what you say about A and B, I would say that I think of like the A to B loading screen reminds me of Metal Gear Solid 3,
Mhm.
which is the PlayStation 2 era, where it was like, all right, this is a big map, it's all connected, it's all one big area, but your console can't handle, we
Loading
haven't
it all at the
done,
same time.
yeah, we haven't done what's it called when they generate it as you come across it,
Render.
um, render yet, but they haven't done like proximity rendering yet.
Mhm.
They haven't done that yet, where it's like sitting out waiting to be loaded as you get within 100 feet of it or whatever.
Mhm.
And so it's like, all right, you're in Swamp North.
Memory
All right,
wasn't
now you're in
fast enough.
Swamp South.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So now you have that's the old silo open world game for me, I think. But now it's you can support it. But I was saying before is that Elden Ring, you walk into a cave off the road, you're just in the cave. But like in something like Skyrim, for instance, 10 years ago, it was you walk into a cave and it's a loading screen to get into the cave. But I still consider that being an open world game just because of the fact that you're going into a closed off area, aka a game in the game world, a dungeon. And I think that like getting to the cave wasn't limited by your path in any way before. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just
I
because
understand.
your console can't support loading into that small area, because of
Right.
the I think it's still open world.
And I think for me,
Um,
it comes down to it. And Arceus isn't. It's not bad game design. It's just I
no, it's
think
just
it's
not open
misleading,
world.
right? And it's not open world.
Yeah,
It's not what everybody wanted. Which
yeah,
brings me to why I think it's a cash grab, given that a Pokemon game has been announced for the end of
right,
the year that it's currently been released in.
right. To
So
your point about
it's
Zelda though,
what's that?
with Zelda though, I'm
Well,
sorry.
here's the
Like,
other thing though,
okay.
and kind of even to touch on that before we get into the topic, it's Zelda is the same console that is open world. Like that's an open world
Yeah,
game, right?
so
And
Switch can handle
so
it.
you can't tell me that it's a technology thing like the PlayStation 2 was because you got fucking Breath of the Wild, which is regarded
Right.
as so innovative and like
Breath of the Wild had a whole team on it for 3 years. That's why. And they didn't
right.
that's what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying. They didn't put a whole team on Arceus. And they didn't
And
do it for 3 years.
maybe Scarlet and all that is going to be Breath of the Wild Pokemon. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and
I think
that's
Scarlet. Like, I think really, I don't even need open world. I need the next generation. I will say this: the Pokemon's done some interesting things in the past, through since Red and Blue and all that. I mean, when you got the 3D from 3DS, like not having the top down anymore was super cool. That was a very
right,
big change and it was appreciated.
right.
And then even the thing about Sun and Moon with Alola and having Alola versions of Pokemon, that was a really cool thing where it was like, hey, Ninetales? Yeah, okay, Ninetales is an ice type now. Oh, okay. Or
Right.
Raichu? Yeah, Raichu is like a psychic electric type, and he rides on his surfboard tail. And it's like, oh, okay, I like that a lot.
Right.
So it was like
Right.
interesting. It was like we're not making new Pokemon. We're just reskinning
Yeah.
old Pokemon because people have been doing it for 20 years on art sites, making their own version of like, what if there's funny people on TikTok all the time who are like, all right, random Pokemon, this one, random type, this one. All right, what if Raichu was psychic? Let's do it. And they
Yeah.
make it on
Right.
TikTok, and
Mhm.
now Pokemon Game Freak is like, let's do that. That
Yeah.
sounds smart. Let's do that.
Right. Right.
People
Right.
love this shit. So I think that Pokemon has done some things that's innovative, and I think that they can evolve the equation. The because I mean I'm happy when they take the formula and they just mix the formula up a little bit. When they made
Mhm.
Let's Go Pokemon Pikachu and Eevee, it was literally just a carbon copy of Pokemon Yellow. The exact story, exact level design, everything. It was just the 3D version instead of the top down. It was Pokemon Go style of catching and wild Pokemon walking around as well. And that was it. That was the whole thing.
Mhm.
They didn't change anything else. It was just modern day graphics and level style, and then Pokemon Go catching and wild Pokemon encounter style. That's it. It's the
Right.
exact same game. And I was like, yeah, I love this. This is the nostalgia that I want, but it's different enough that I'm not just like, I could play this on my old Game Boy right now if I wanted to.
Right.
So,
And that like you said, Nintendo does that very well. Always has, always will. They continue, even if it's not them redoing or reimagining current franchises, it's expanding them to do weird stuff that you wouldn't have thought, like Mario Golf. Mario Golf, you've got Mario Tennis, you've got Mario Kart, obviously was a beginning one that did it.
Well, Golf and Tennis have been around for a while too, but they brought it back.
But even, Strikers, for Christ's sake, like Olympics with Sonic and, Sonic and Mario Olympics. It's just Pokemon, Stadium, Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon Snap, Pokemon, like it's insane what they do,
Snap.
right?
I didn't like Snap. People love Snap though.
I love the original one. It was just fun. I didn't understand it until I was a certain age though.
I don't like it for $60. That's my thing. I don't like it for $60.
Yes. I agree.
30.
I agree.
30.
Easy says, I'm excited for Switch Sports. You and me both. I'm actually very excited for that. That's going to be a good time.
Switch Sports. What is Switch Sports?
Wii Sports, but for this, it's Wii Sports,
yeah.
but Nintendo Switch Sports is what it's called.
What's that? There was a game that came out with 1-2 Switch when it launched.
That's not even close. That's just weird stuff. Close. It's like you hold like one of the things is one of the things was like, it was like, I don't know how, but like you hold the, what are they called? Joy-Cons,
yeah.
And like you act like you're eating, like, and that's who can eat it the fastest, and it like tracks you with like the motion stuff or whatever. It's just weird games. That's all the 1-2 Switch is. Okay. It's just weird
it's like
stuff.
A party thing.
Like, but this one's actually like tennis and bowling and badminton. Cool. Like it's doing what the Wii did, which is going to be really, really cool. So Courier asks, I've never been to one of these, so what are we doing? So, welcome in, Courier. Yes, welcome in, Courier. You're going to let me go ahead and promote this. So, this is called Split Screen. Split Screen is a podcast gaming talk show, if you will. The lovely face you see next to me is DaddyCrit. DaddyCrit is one of the mods and a longtime friend of the channel and the show and everything like that. But this is something we do every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. If you could watch us live here, enjoy everything like that. Just hang out, ask questions like Easy and everybody else in chat has been doing. We'd love to have you. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can come hang out with us on Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And we can go ahead and definitely get into it. So please join us. Hit the subscribe button, all that fantastic stuff. There is going to be a separate YouTube channel, which is going to be I don't have it. I have it now, which is literally right there. So if you guys want to subscribe over there, that'd be great. I'd appreciate that. But Crit, let's go ahead, dude. Let's talk. I'm not even gonna. I'm almost sick of bashing about Breath of the Wild because like
we gotta talk about it though. We gotta talk about it though.
I kind of. Hey, sup, Macho? What's going on? Welcome in. Good to see you. It's Breath of the Wild to me, and this is coming from somebody, and this is completely take it with a grain of salt because I haven't played it. I'm just outside looking in. I don't know what they've done. I don't know what Breath of the Wild has done. Again, without playing it, right? Without playing it. And I've had these conversations with many people who have played it. I don't know what Breath of the Wild, why games today, when they choose to go open world, are considered the open or the Breath of the Wild version of XYZ. When someone told me that Elden Ring was the Breath of the Wild Dark Souls, I wanted to lose my fucking mind. I don't get it because A, they didn't invent open world. B,
right.
They're not the first ones to open up locations of like, this is kind of a dungeon. Like, for example, vaults in Fallout have been around for a long time. That is the same concept of a dungeon, right?
We need to talk about something real quick because I think what you're most mad about is clickbait jargon. You are mad about people who are saying Breath of the Wild because the Breath of the Wild of this is clickbait. It's the thing that, as somebody who's trying to
Souls-like is another thing you and I both don't like.
Yes, as somebody who's trying to do freelance writing for gaming magazines, I will tell you it's clickbait shit. Makes sense. Literally, I'm writing an article about it right now. It's literally just clickbait shit. It's how to get you. It's a game and another game that was popular and bringing them together and talking about it and just saying like, hey, you like that game? It's just like that game. It's actually not just like that game, but you'll read anyway, won't you?
Right.
Because you like both these games. That's all it is. So don't
I
let
don't
go of
know
the
if that's,
hatred.
well, maybe it's not. I'm not mad at the title. I'm mad that that's what works.
Right. Yes, that's fair. Mad at the system is one thing.
But it
So let
also
go of the,
is the current, like Breath of the Wild is regarded as one of the best video games ever. Well, not
right.
maybe not ever, but modern video games. Um, so
Say
I get
whatever.
why it's like when you use that, like Elden Ring's going to be used a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, is this the Elden Ring of your fucking of Halo? You know what I mean? I don't know. Halo already got
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild, if you will.
Right.
So I don't know. I think there's going to be a shift in that, but
So
um,
I think
it's
the issue is just the wording people say. So when people say it's the Breath of the Wild of this. I mean, really they're saying it's the open world of Skyrim or Dark Souls. But what I think the important thing here and the takeaway from this that I want to talk about is the fact that Breath of the Wild has shaped the last couple of years of open world games. That does not make them the Breath of the Wild of their franchise or of X style of genre of game. It just makes them inspired by Breath of the Wild that work. And I think to talk about that, you have to talk about Skyrim from its place first, because Skyrim did not create open world games. Neither did Breath of the Wild. Neither did Elden Ring. None of
yeah,
these people
sure,
made open world games,
right.
but they did change the open world game mindset. So what Skyrim did for us, and because Oblivion was before Skyrim, obviously, what Skyrim did for us was it said Oblivion was doing really well, and had a lot of stuff in it. We're going to put more stuff into it so that when you're all done, the map is going to have 500 fucking icons on it. And you're going to say, oh man, there's a bunch of different areas. And I don't remember any of them.
Right.
But
Whiterun.
that's cool. But Skyrim also gave us the freedom to, where most RPGs wanted to pigeonhole you into one thing. I mean, Dark Souls has classes in the beginning, but
Mhm.
it's not actually a class. It's just what stats do you want to start out with and what weapon do you want to start out with.
Exactly.
But you can, I mean, you can not go mage and you can find a rod within the first 20 minutes of the game and a spell as well to buy for pretty cheap. And now you have a 15 strength and a 10 intelligence, but you have magic ability as well.
Right.
So Skyrim did that for us and was like, hey, there's 20 skills and you can level whatever the fuck skills you want to level.
Mhm.
And eventually you can also respec if you want to. So you can do whatever you want. You can go wherever you want. You can find interesting things for the moment, at least snippets of things to do for in whatever direction you go into. You'll constantly see on the compass here, like, oh, there's a cave that way, or oh, there's a mammoth head that way. What's that? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what's going to happen. Breath of the Wild took that logic and said, we made the open world, we made it um packed with interest with interesting
Refined.
engagements.
Yeah, refined.
They refined it. We took out the we took the meat, like you were saying before. I think we took the meat
Yeah.
and we took all the scraps out. We took the ones that, like, of those 500 encounters, 50 of them are memorable. Let's take just the 50 of them and put them in. But Breath of the Wild really emphasized exploration, and they did that through not only the fact that the world is beautiful and the world has rolling hills and terrain features that you can. I mean, the stamina gauge, you can climb anything you want to climb as long as you have the stamina to climb it, is fantastic, I think, and it really encouraged exploration. But it's also the fact that you can go into your binoculars, see something, push the Y button or whatever, and then a beam of light is now on it, and that's now an icon on your map. So it's like you get over the next hill and see something new, and that's very much modern day. I mean, The Witcher, Fallout 4. My dog peed on the floor. Um, so The Witcher, Fallout
Nice.
4,
Here's your
Elden Ring.
Witcher.
Yeah.
God damn
Um,
it.
and a lot of these games all have that same exploration mindset of, you get over a hill and you see, what's that? You know what I mean? How many times in Elden Ring today you like gone to the top of a ruins and said, what's that over there? I want to go over there.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yep.
Because exploration based, and Breath of the Wild really did that, and started that trend. Um, and I think that's what we're going on, is the fact that, like, they didn't make the genre. They didn't start it, but they've adapted with the time and done something new that the market wanted, and now it's like, cool, people like this formula, so let's gear more towards that formula. Eventually, someone's going to do something different in a couple years,
Yeah.
even more so than Elden Ring has done,
Hmm.
and they're gonna go towards that instead, you know?
I guess I'm trying to and mind you again, I haven't played it, but like part of me thinks what have they done? Again, I know new and innovative, but is that only to the franchise, which makes it the most exciting part of it? Or if it was reskinned as anything else, it would be just as fantastic? Or is that not fair?
No, that's a good question. I mean, like I think that so Zelda gives it a boost. I mean, when the fact that it came out as a launch title for Switch in March of 2017,
Still
and it was
impressive.
like
Still,
it was
to
like
this day,
Nintendo
it's the
Direct
best
in
looking game.
December.
It's the best
Oh
looking
yeah,
game on the
absolutely.
Switch.
And Nintendo Direct in December of 2016 was like, you know, a bunch of snaps
Right.
and the Switch and Zelda. And
Mm-hmm.
everyone was like, "What is this? What is this?" And it was like rolling fields and blah blah. And it was like, "Oh, what's this new game?" And it was like the Master Sword in a Rock, and it was just like, "Oh, we're an open world Zelda game."
Right.
And
Yep.
which, mind you, there have been other open world Zelda games. Like I think Majora's Mask was very open world.
Okay.
And I don't really recall, but getting that was a big hype boost from the look, from the timing, from the launch title, and from the brand. I think if you took Breath of the Wild's formula though and took out the licensed copyrighted material and made it demigod versus or hero versus evil demigod creature being Ganon, you'd still have a really good game on your hands.
I would like to bring up Immortals Phoenix Rising then, because it didn't do very well. Right?
Don't really. So when I watched,
It is Breath of the Wild, right? But maybe not as
this is the thing
polished.
you hate though. I don't. When I watch people play Immortals, I didn't really feel like I was watching Breath of the. I felt like there was inspiration from Breath of the Wild
A
in
ton of
there.
it, yes.
Yeah, but I didn't feel like. I mean, a lot of Immortals. I mean, I have to go back and watch some more gameplay, but Immortals felt like I was watching more of it was more based on the puzzles in the dungeon than it was the exploration. It felt like to me,
Right.
what I saw
That's
of it
fair.
at least.
That's fair.
And the big thing about Breath of the Wild was literally just like, here's a pretty world and there's stuff in it and enemies to fight in it, but like go explore the world, go enjoy the world.
It had it, but
And
it had the beacon system. It had icons that you could be like, oh, this is there. I can mark it. I'm gonna go find it. So like,
yeah,
it wasn't nearly as polished. I see what you're saying, but that's maybe in a bad example. But even Easy
well, no,
says Immortal was
it's a
one of
good
the.
point though.
He says even Immortals was one they said was a Breath of the Wild ripoff, which it had the fatigue climbing. You climb a
Yeah.
rock, you have to stop on a surface, re-get your stamina, climb again if you want. It had the gliding thing, but that's only because you had wings. You know what I mean? Like it was so like, we're gonna borrow a lot, but it's not. It didn't get the Nintendo polish, I think, of
I
that,
think
right?
it's also, I mean, we get mad when things try to copy Dark Souls because when you try to copy something that is very iconic entirely, you don't get it. It's not going to be the same thing. And
Right.
when I can feel like you're copying it, but it's not 100%, then I'm like, all right, this is not what I want.
Right.
It's not the thing. I'm not playing Dark Souls, but I'm not playing something different either. So I feel like I'm getting a half of the game almost.
Right.
Or I feel like I'm getting a less good version of Dark Souls, or I'm getting a less good version of the game you wanted to make in the first place. So when you copy so hard from it, which is why Elden Ring does really good because it does have an exploration minded map. It does have the mini dungeons and the puzzles that are in there sometimes too, with
Yeah.
like the locked doors. But it keeps the Dark Souls combat and the Dark Souls lore and all that stuff as well with the quality it has. So I think that like ripping entirely off of Breath of the Wild is not good, but inspiring
Right.
it is
I
good.
agree. I think, and Courier brings up a good point. Isn't the fatigue climbing from Shadow of the Colossus? And I believe it is. That's the main, the main thing. And that's one of the things that wasn't necessarily invented. And that's kind of
Right,
my
exactly.
point, right? And that's one of the things is I'm not trying to belittle what Breath of the Wild is because
Right.
like it's still a great game. It's obviously loved by so many people, and I'm hoping that stays that way. Because video games are great, and I think everybody should like what they like. And I'm not trying to think that, but
Oh, of course.
I try to temper.
Except Dark Souls 2.
Right? Yeah. I mean, come on, It's still a game that I enjoyed, but it's the worst one of the other games that I really enjoy. Right? That's how I always kind of say it. But So that's kind of all I wanted to do. I don't want to shit on any more Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the Nintendo hater. I try not to be, but it's more curiosity, I think, for me, really, when it comes down to is I think nostalgia is very powerful. I think Nintendo is very good at bringing new generations of children to their platform and their games and introducing them to them in a unique way. I think
I don't think you're shitting on Nintendo from this conversation. I
no,
wouldn't even say that.
is it just being like critiquing of what they're.
But that's fine.
But also, but it's also
things.
The thing is I'm not even their target audience anymore. I'm not, and that's fine. The same thing goes into Star Wars. Like I am on the opposite side of the Star Wars spectrum. Is like when people complain about the prequels and they're like they were shit. Like they weren't fucking aimed for you. You know what I mean? They were aimed for me, at those people at my age, not for you as who watched them in the movie theater in the 70s. They're not aimed for you anymore. They aren't. Even the new trilogy. Not aimed for me. And I realize that. So I go into it and I'm like, these are fun. These are new heroes and new people that people can look up to and actually, respect. That's fine by me. I love that shit. If I went into it with like, this isn't for me, but I love Star Wars and I want content to keep coming out. And then when people shit on it because they're like, this doesn't add up to be this. And it's like, eat shit. Did you write it? No, you didn't. So it's somebody else's interpretation of their vision of what they want to put on a big screen. Eat shit. That's my whole thing.
That's totally. I think the idea that and like you're saying, like we're not the audience or the target of our audience anymore. I think it's. I mean, they're still making. I think if you, especially with some like Star Wars, if you try to shoot for the diehard fans, you will always fail because you will.
You're always going to disappoint them.
Something, something's going to disappoint them no matter what that you do. And so the better bet is to go for the general audience and I'm not gonna say that the Star Wars movies that are now the new ones are perfect. I'm not gonna say that, but I liked the new movies. I watched like Last Jedi and 9 like a year or two after they had come out, and I remember watching Last Jedi and I was like, why does everyone hate this? I don't understand. I don't love it. I'm not like, well, best movie ever. But I was like, it's a good Star Wars movie. I don't understand.
I went to see it. Problem here? I'm a fan of the universe. I went to go see it. It had cool, effects, if anything. But I'm not picking the script apart. Like I'm never going to do that.
And as an aside, I think people don't like it because they didn't like the fact that Luke wasn't a goody two shoes anymore, and he like questioned.
That's not my Luke.
This is good character development in my opinion, because this is what I probably would have done too. Right? I'd be like, I don't know, man, this shit's kind of fucked. Maybe I should just let Jedi stuff die out.
Yeah, there's a lot of space in between where people didn't get what they wanted, right? And I think that's what the Mandalorian's doing right now is filling out what's happening, right? It's kind of, very loosely right now, but kind of just bringing them in and doing what it is. But I think the Star Wars fandom is dangerous. I think the more and more toxic it gets, it's one of the worst fan groups of people that I can't. Bigsy says, most toxic. Exactly. Yes. So,
and I would say too, like it was the Mandalorian in my experience, like from observing and like doing like basic level home research on stuff and just like seeing the internet, but also from like being a dungeon master and like running stories and games for people in D&D, people are more drawn, and especially nowadays, to nitty gritty, down to earth stories that aren't world ending, galaxy threatening stories. When the Death Stars and the end of the universes and I mean, even like the Thanoses of today, Marvel kind of baffled me a little bit, but like those kind of things are so like not as interesting to people as much as like people would rather watch The Mandalorian, who's basically just some random dude in this small sect of a dead society rescue a baby from some bounty hunters than they are interested in the big giant Death Star that can blow up a planet. And it's like, because that's too big for me to comprehend or really care about. But I can get down with this small group of people. I can understand this. The millions and billions of people that are going to die on Alderaan, I don't care. I can't connect to that. But I can connect to the baby going to die.
Exactly.
I don't like that. So.
Oh my God. So we've been talking for about an hour and 10 minutes. So Courier has asked a lot of interesting questions in chat that I kind of want to get to.
Oh yeah.
So Courier asks, the first one is, I don't know if this is going to be considered unrelated, but did you guys know that there's talks of a Bloodborne 2 being funded and in early idea stage? So that's not really a question asking if we were aware. I wasn't aware. I take all Bloodborne 2 news very lightly. I absolutely think it's just one of those things where huge dream for me, and I think a lot of people, they can't even put Bloodborne on PC, so let alone make a sequel. So that's kind of where I'm at. I hope you're right, Courier. I hope that's the case. I think Crit's probably doing a little bit of digging right now, but I know we would both be very excited for it, and hopefully that's the case.
The thing about Bloodborne 2, because I was just checking to see if my memory was correct, Miyazaki has never once said, from what I can tell, and I believe this is true, Miyazaki has said in 2016, I'm not thinking about making any sequels or spin-offs after Dark Souls 3 came out. I'm not thinking about making any sequels or spin-offs. That applies to Bloodborne as well. He did not make any sequels or spin-offs after that. After that, he made Sekiro after that in 2017, I think.
Yeah. 2018.
And whatever. Yeah, 2018. I think you're right. But he has, and also whenever he's asked about Bloodborne, he always says it's not my decision to make. That's not my call.
It's PlayStation.
That's PlayStation. That's FromSoft. That is Bandai, mostly Bandai. And also it's the fans, like their decision and all that too. But he says that's not his call. I do not think we'll get Bloodborne 2. And I say that if we get Bloodborne 2, I think it'll be a business decision and not a storytelling decision. I don't think it'll be Miyazaki dying to tell another story about Bloodborne.
Right.
I think Miyazaki's the kind of writer who knows what he wants to write. If he wants to add more, he plans DLC out ahead of time for it, like Ring City and Ashes of Arian.
Oh, Ring City, man! DLCs. Oh my god! Oh my god!
But I think that he plans those out ahead of time, and those are his concise stories. Miyazaki is the kind of writer. He reminds me of, it's not a very good comparison, but Nick Kroll is a comedian who made the Kroll Show, and the Kroll Show was a big success and very funny show in my opinion. Very good show. It was doing great in the ratings on Comedy Central, I believe. And then 3 seasons in, it just stopped. And it was like, did it get canceled? And it was like, no, Nick Kroll stopped writing it. And it was like, why did you stop writing it? Because he was done. Told the stories he wanted to tell.
Kind of the same thing.
Chappelle Show, exactly. Yeah. Chappelle Show. He told the stories he wanted to tell. He did what he wanted to do. He didn't want to make it a South Park where it became, or a Family Guy or an American Dad where it became 15 seasons in, and it was like it's watered down now. Right. It was like, it's been funny. The joke is over. Let's keep laughing about it in memory.
Let it be what it is.
Something else.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Next got here, Courier says, actually, let's jump to Macho so we can split it up a little bit here. He says, I have a doubt. Can DC make a big franchise movie like Avengers Endgame? No. They can. It's not going to be successful. They've already, if you do get that, you're going to have to wait for all current superheroes that are casted for what they are to be recasted into something different. And that's going to take many, many years. And the reason I say that is not that the people in there can't do that. And this is my opinion, of course. Is they've already screwed the pooch on getting story building. The reason Endgame worked so well is because you grew up with those superheroes for 10 years. Like, you know what I mean? They all had their, minus the Hulk and minus, I think, Captain Marvel at the time, technically. Maybe. I can't remember. Either way, one of them didn't have their single story written, but you had 3 Iron Man movies, you had Avengers movies that they were all in between. You had Captain America movies. You didn't get a Black Widow one. That's another one who didn't get her own stuff until after. Ant-Man had his own stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they all just worked. You grew up with these people. That's a decade worth of content in like Thor. You know, you had 3 Thor movies before you got into Endgame and anything like that. Guardians of the Galaxy. So like, there's no way currently in the current situation and where it's at. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think you're saying, like you said won't, but they can't, like they can, but they won't. I don't think they can. I think they literally cannot. I think that the age of superhero films is dying out so fast now. And I think
you think so
that, oh yeah, absolutely. I 100% believe that. You cannot tell me besides Spider-Man,
I don't know.
Spider-Man.
Wait till Thor comes out. I think it's going to do just as well.
I don't know, man.
Not as Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's adorable. Like, that's
Spider-Man's a standalone thing. Spider-Man will always be a big hit no matter what. It was a big hit before. It's just like Batman. Batman will always be a big thing in the DC universe.
You say a big hit, but like nothing now. The reason I don't think that's true is because none of those older movies, like Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi ones with Tobey Maguire 1, 2, and 3, didn't nearly make as much money as the current ones do, mediocre ones, right? So that's why I don't think they're dying out.
I'm saying, so like in terms of like being good films and all that stuff. So I think that Batman and Spider-Man are their own in their own universes, are their own standoff ones that are always going to be good. People always want to go see a Batman movie or a Spider-Man movie. I don't really have a desire to see the new Marvel films at all myself. But I will. I do want to watch Spider-Man films because they're always good. Tobey Maguire's a good, or not Tobey Maguire. Tom Holland's a good casting for that. And I think that they're
Andrew Garfield's the best Spider-Man.
Okay. Taika Waititi
we could talk
is
about
what's
that
making what's making Thor good. The minute you lose Taika Waititi, you don't have Thor as good as it was anymore. Because if you made
Thor 1 was good, just not nearly good.
Thor
as
1 was good because it
Ragnarok.
was Thor 1. It was the first Thor
introduction.
movie we got.
Yeah. It was still weird. He looks weird, but yeah.
Yeah, he does. But so anyway, I think that I don't know box office numbers. I don't know. And a lot of that also comes into the consideration of like what's the sales numbers? How does Disney Plus factor into this? How does COVID and all that stuff factor into it? It's
a weird time to do any comparisons. Yeah.
Yeah, and people going to the movies has changed in the past couple of years because if you look at numbers from Iron Man, people weren't going to the movies very much in the early 2000s, in the 2010s and all that. It wasn't happening as often. People go to the movies more often now because of Marvel franchises. They go to the movies more often now.
Right.
So
isn't that weird though? Because like movie theaters are disappearing.
Yeah, it is weird,
isn't it? It's so strange.
Yeah, it's interesting because like you compare, like you say, well, Iron Man hadn't have that many. Because Iron Man didn't have that many, as much box office hit numbers as later films did. But it's like but Iron Man then started more people going to the films that could then feed into future films.
Right.
But my point here is that I think the later movies after Avengers 4. You start to see a slight decline in the interest. I see a lot of burnout from people who are like, I'm tired of superhero movies. I'm tired. Even people who are big fans are just like, oh man, I crescendoed with Thanos, and instead of it being like the end game being like the finisher, it was like we're just getting started, and it was like, oh, I can't sit there 10 more years, man.
The next big bad, man. That's what it's about. I'm telling you. See, I haven't slowed down. My excitement has not gone anywhere. I think. Are you a comic? Do you have a comic book?
I grew up. My uncle owns a comic shop, so I grew up around comics.
That's right. Okay.
I think the big thing though is that like, so you have the Marvel people who are still into it because they have the established fame. It's establishing a world, a universe right now, a cinematic universe, and a good one in the DC fandom. This is a long answer. I'm sorry. The establishing a DC fandom universe right now is like saying I'm gonna start a delivery business against Amazon. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing, man?
I agree.
You got to make everything has to be perfect. Every film has to be fantastic. I mean, not all of them are perfect, but they're all really good films in Marvel. Yeah. So the minute you mess up one of those characters' movies, it's done.
Right.
Like you're out.
I'm also very easy to please as long as what I'm looking at is visually entertaining.
You cut
out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like as long as it's like visually satisfying, I think is more what it comes down to. Like if I'm looking at a big epic of a fight scene or battlefield of like Endgame, never gonna happen again. I don't think it's ever gonna happen again. It never will. That ever. Maybe 50 years in the future it might happen. But like that's insane. The amount of screen talent that they put into one movie is fucking bananas. That's why I don't think DC can do it, because they're not structuring it the same way, and they haven't been. There's been maybe 3 different Batmen that there have since Affleck. There's been, oh my God. You know what I mean? There's been Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and then now currently Robert Pattinson, which I'm excited for because it's a different, I'm excited for because it's different. It's a year 2 Batman. I haven't seen that on the big screen. It's going to be fucking big. The director has
even said, he's like, I'm not putting him into a universe. I have no plans to make my Batman into a universe or even like a trilogy.
That's great.
I have no idea.
Next one we've got from Courier is I wanted to switch. Thank you, Macho and Courier, so much for the questions. I love it.
Yeah.
Easy also asked if we watched Peacemaker. Have you watched Peacemaker?
I have not watched Peacemaker.
I haven't either. I heard it's fantastic, and I know there's I know it's good. I just haven't sat down and watched it for whatever reason. I don't know if it's John Cena, even though I know he does a fantastic job and I've heard it, but it's like I watch John Cena as a wrestler. Like I watch wrestling, and he's just going to be a wrestler in me. He always will be.
Have you taken his class on Duolingo on Mandarin Chinese? I'm just kidding.
What?
He speaks Mandarin Chinese. Mandarin.
He's very smart. He's a very smart man. Yeah, he's very smart.
Mandarin. You ever seen him speak Mandarin before? It's fantastic.
I can only imagine. Courier says, there's one more here. Two more quick fire on these ones. Where's the other one? Probably unrelated question, but would you guys like a Darth Vader video game?
Yes.
1,000,000%. Sign me up.
Yeah.
Any Star Wars game, as long as it plays like Jedi Fallen Order, sign me the fuck up. I'm so down for it.
I'll take Force Unleashed.
Ooh, yeah, Force Unleashed third person. I think third person action it has to be for a Star Wars game to get me really excited.
Vader. What's the point? I can't see my helmet. What's the point?
They've got that, and it's called it's in VR.
God, I just hear the surround sound in my ears the whole time. This is what it sounds like in your head. Oh,
Jesus, get me out of here.
Get me out of this helmet.
Next one is: are you guys excited for Kenobi and Moon Knight?
Yes.
Yes, and yes.
Yes.
Okay, me too.
I know very little about Moon Knight. I just know that one of my friends who also owns a comic shop is very into Moon Knight and very excited. And I'm like, I trust you. So, and Moon Knight looks cool.
He adds some mystic. Cool. It's a mystic version of. This is just going to be a super generic, but it's like a mystic version of an LA Batman in white.
I'm here for it.
That's kind of what you're going to get. I think.
I like the white too. I like the white.
I think I love Oscar Isaac. So. That man can do almost anything, and I'll be super down.
I'm also just here for Kenobi because of Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor being himself is what I want. That's all I care about. If it wasn't Ewan McGregor, I'd be like, nah, I don't really care.
I think a lot of people would.
Movie, but not with Harrison Ford. You can't do Harrison Ford in Han Solo movie though. I get it. Like you can't make him that young. I understand. It'd be weird. I'm not complaining.
I heard it was good though.
But I've heard it was good. But when someone says like Han Solo film starring this guy, I'm just like, I don't see him as.
I get it. It's hard. How do you see somebody else, right? I get it. 100%.
Ewan McGregor getting older makes more sense than Han Solo getting younger. So,
let's see here. Vader show or movie? Prefer a show, but a movie would be good too. So I think. So Courier also says, what would be your thoughts on a Darth Vader show or movie? Prefer a show, but a movie would be good too. So you're gonna get in Kenobi. Hayden Christensen is coming back to play Darth Vader. So I think you're gonna get a lot of Darth Vader. I think in that show.
It's so cringy. I can't wait.
I don't think so. I honestly don't.
So I don't know. I've seen some Christensen movies since then, and he's not.
Well, Jumper's not any good. Jumper's not good.
Well, no, but like,
what has he been since?
Clips. I gotta look it up. I've seen clips on like I'll look it up later. I've seen clips on the internet of him like in other movies. And I feel like he really hasn't expanded his acting chops that much.
He's also going to be in the suit, right? So like he's going to be auto-tuned.
Anybody can be Darth Vader. Like anybody can be him. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but like
it be him.
It has to be. You have to, right? You just have to have
be anybody else except for that one scene where his helmet comes off, and then it's like, okay, we need him real quick. All right,
I'm actually very excited to see this. I think maybe it's just because that dude got shit on and he didn't deserve it, right? I don't think so. I don't care how bad he was. I don't care what it was. I just
slaughtered them like animals.
Like animals. Oh my god, dude. As far as questions, I think that's pretty much all we have. Again, you guys can ask. I love the questions. This has been more interaction than we've had in the past, so I appreciate everybody being here. If you want to catch these live on Friday nights, like tonight, every week we do one of these 9 p.m. Eastern time we start. So we'd love to have you guys, of course, come in and just have a good time. Join the conversation. That's what it's all about. Crit, thank you so much for hanging out, talking Elden Ring, Pokemon, Nintendo, Star Wars, Peacemaker, everything else in between. These shows are a lot of fun, and I'm going to keep doing them. So hopefully you'll come back. No, maybe. We'll see, I guess. I had
too much Elden Ring to play. I'm sorry. Too much Elden Ring. I got to dive into Pokemon Arceus for like 47 straight hours one day.
There you go. Good idea. You should. One day, 47 hours. Nice.
Yeah. Both very likely. 47 hours in one day and me playing Pokemon Arceus, very likely.
There you go. There it is. Two things guaranteed. Yes, Courier, it is over. So if you want to save those questions, save them for next week. Hopefully you'll be there. That'd be great. We'd love to have you. I think Hermes is going to be back for that one. And Crit will just you'll just be here whenever the hell you want, right?
See.
Yeah. We'll see if Elden Ring is still a thing. But thank you.
Hermes on YouTube. Bye, Hermes.
Bye. All right. So thank you guys. Check us out Friday. If you watched all the way on YouTube, thank you so much. Join us over on Twitch. Drop a follow there. Catch all the content that we goes on throughout the week. So thank you, everybody. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and we will see you all later. Bye, everybody.